Her phone lit up in my hand, and I already knew. I hadn't even read the message yet. I didn't need to. My gut had been telling me for months, and I had spent months talking it out of the answer. 3 words on that screen. Do you regret it? I stood there in the dark of our bedroom, her passed out behind me, and I felt my legs go. I felt the floor tilt. Because the night that message was referring to, I'd been lying in that same bed, breathing through a panic attack, telling myself over and over that I was being paranoid. I was not being paranoid. Her name was Sarah. We had been together 2 years when everything fell apart, and I want you to understand who she was before I tell you what she did, because that's the part that still keeps me up at night. She was bookish, quiet, the kind of person who remembered the names of your childhood pets and asked about them months later. She carried a lot of old pain, stuff from before me, stuff I won't get into. And part of what I loved about her was that she had chosen to trust me with it anyway. She had let me in, and in return, I trusted her more completely than I had ever trusted another person in my life. We made a pact early on. If anything ever happened, if either of us felt something shifting, if a line ever came close to being crossed, we would tell the other one immediately. No waiting, no covering it up, no exceptions. That pact wasn't just a promise. It was the foundation we built everything on, and it was the reason I never felt that low, grinding jealousy that some guys carry into every relationship they're ever in. She had a male friend from work. I'll call him Daniel. And from the first time his name came up, something in me shifted. Not loudly, not in a way I could explain or defend. Just a quiet, persistent wrongness sitting in my chest whenever he was mentioned. I had no evidence, no single thing I could point to. So I did what I always do when my gut and my better judgment disagree. I reasoned my way past it. He had been badly cheated on in his own relationship, she had told me. A man who had been through that kind of pain, I thought, wouldn't put it on someone else. He knew exactly what it felt like. I believed that. I held on to it. And I kept holding on to it right up until the moment I couldn't anymore. The night it happened, I was working late. She went out with people from work first, which was completely normal. And then at some point during the evening, she messaged Daniel. Just asked if he wanted to get a drink. He invited her over to his place. We share locations with each other. It had started as a safety thing. If one of us was ever stuck somewhere or in trouble, the other would know exactly where to go. That night I was watching her little dot on the map begin moving toward his neighborhood, and my chest just closed. There was no rational explanation for the feeling. She had every right to visit a friend. I knew that. I told myself that clearly, deliberately, like I was reading from a script. And still my whole body went into full alarm, like something I couldn't hear was very loud. The panic attack came on fast. I'm not someone who makes a big deal of these things, and I've had them before, I know what they are. But this one had a different quality. It didn't feel like generalized anxiety. It felt like information. Like my nervous system was reading something my conscious mind was refusing to look at directly. I breathed. I panicked. I breathed again. I checked her location. Still there. At around 11, she texted me. Said she was on her way home, that they had a great catch-up, that Daniel was applying for a new job. It was a perfectly normal message. Warm, relaxed, nothing technically out of place, but there was too much in it. too many details filling space I hadn't asked her to fill. The rhythm of it felt just slightly rehearsed. The way a person sounds when they have already decided what they're going to say before the conversation starts. The following day was our 2-year anniversary. We celebrated. I pushed the feeling down hard because I wanted to be present for that day, and also because I was ashamed of my own suspicion. She hadn't done anything wrong that I could prove. I was becoming the kind of paranoid boyfriend I had always told myself I'd never be. 3 days after that, she had been drinking and fallen asleep early. Her phone was loose in her hand. I picked it up, genuinely, only to put it on charge. That was all I meant to do. And the screen lit up before I could even set it down on the nightstand. A message from Daniel. I had never gone through her phone, not once in 2 years. That was never who we were as a couple. But I unlocked it and I scrolled back. And what I found was months of low-level flirting I had known nothing about. Messages that were just warm enough, just close enough to be something. And then, sitting there plainly among them, a message sent earlier that same week. Do you regret it? I read it once, then I read it again. The bedroom was silent except for the sound of her breathing behind me. I don't remember putting the phone down. I remember being in the hallway. I remember the walls feeling closer than they should. I went back in and I woke her up, and I gave her one chance, just one. I told her clearly and without raising my voice. If something had happened, and she told me right now, we might find a way through it together. But if I found out any other way, in a week, a month, a year, from anyone else's mouth but hers, I would be gone. That was not a threat. It was just the truth. And she could hear that it was. She confessed. The night I had lain in our bed having a panic attack, coaching myself through breathing exercises and calling myself paranoid, she had slept with him. My gut had not been wrong for a single minute, not once, across all those months of me trying to talk myself down. Then she told me it wasn't the first time. Last summer, before any of my suspicion had even begun to form, before I had any reason to feel what I was feeling, it had happened once before. She said Daniel had pushed for the second time. She said she couldn't remember who started the first. I think that is a lie. I think I know the real shape of it, and I think she knows that I know, and we have both quietly agreed not to say it out loud. She was drinking both times. I can see the pattern, the self-destruction she has carried since long before she ever met me. I can see it and understand it, and it still knocked the ground out from under me completely. What I kept coming back to was the pact. Not only that she had done it, but that she had looked me in the eye for over a year afterward and said nothing. She had kept his number. She had gone back to his house. She had let me build my entire sense of safety on something that was not there. I didn't leave that night. I sat in the kitchen until the sun came up. Just sat there without moving much. Not crying and not shouting. Just holding the distance between who I'd believed she was and what I now knew. Trying to measure it. Finding it was too wide to see across. In the morning, she came and found me. She didn't make excuses. She told me she was going to start therapy for the drinking, for the patterns she could see in herself but couldn't seem to stop. I believed that she meant it. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with that belief. What I keep returning to is the pact. Two people who looked at each other and agreed that honesty was the one thing that could never be negotiable between them. It lived completely inside me. I never once questioned it. And she set it aside without a word, and then kept setting it aside, and I had no idea. She had been my anchor. That's the word I keep finding myself using. My life was genuinely messy before her, and she steadied it. She helped me trust again. Now I'm standing on ground I'm not sure can hold my weight, learning how to find my footing again. I'm not all the way through this yet. I want to be honest about that. But I'm still here, and I'm still standing. And right now, that is enough. If you were in my shoes, if you saw what I saw that night, what would you have done? Would you have walked out right then, or stayed and said nothing until morning? Tell me in the comments. I read everyone. And if this story hit too close to home, subscribe. I've got more like it.